Hello, hello, beautiful, blessed people. Hope all is well. If not, sending so much blessings your way. How are you? It is the day of me recording this. It's May 10th, 2022. Welcome to my Zen Wellness space. I am your Zen Wellness Mama, and it's my goal and my hope to inspire and to encourage you along your intuitive wellness journey in order to feel and to be well. And I, as the Zen Wellness Mama, Zen Wellness Godmama in this space, help provide tools, resources, and information in order to help you on your journey by sharing my journey here on this YouTube channel in hopes that it'll spark some inspiration and curiosity within you. And on the themes of curiosity, the day of me filming this, Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini. I am a Gemini sun and a Virgo moon and rising, and Gemini is a ruling planet of both Virgo and Gemini. So needless to say, this is a season for me. I was actually born during a Mercury retrograde, hence my miscommunication, misspelling of words. Things might not come out as smoothly from me as it might from other people because I was born under a Mercury retrograde, but that's okay because Mercury retrograde is kind of my season. So people might start to understand me a little bit more during a Mercury retrograde. So I thought it might be a great time to pop in and share a little message with you all. Just gonna go over some of the themes that are going on during this time, as well as pull some cards, and yeah, let's get into it. So like I said, today, May 10th, 2022, Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini. And this will happen in the sign of Gemini from the 10th, and then it will go into Mercury retrograde will go transit into Taurus from June 3rd. So June 3rd, Mercury retrograde shifts from Gemini into Taurus. So lots of things here. Let's just break it down. So astrology can be a big beast. The way that I like to look at it is breaking it down from like piece by piece. So we think of Mercury retrograde, right? What does Mercury retrograde mean? Yes, technology. There might be some hiccups with technology. Be careful of your phone and electronics by water. Just some mishaps, contracts, all of that stuff, right? So we're really cautious around this time, but rest and assure, you don't need to switch up anything. Retrogrades are just as time to reassess, reevaluate all the re's, right? So thinking of Mercury, the planet of communication, of publishing, writing, reevaluating things we might be writing out, how we're communicating, and also in the shine of Gemini. Gemini is also about communication. It's mutable sign as well, mutable air. So how we're communicating and how we're giving information, just take a step back and reevaluate. Like, no need to, if you can hold off and not do contracts or big purchases, especially with electronics at this time, please feel free, go ahead. But not all of us have that privilege, right? Some of us need to move forward with contracts or need to go about our business. So if you do, rest assured that you can. You just need to take a little bit more time to reevaluate the contract, reevaluate, do a little bit more research. For example, my transmission ran out in my car, and I was hoping to get a new car before the retrograde, but it didn't happen. But I'm not going to let that, bring me down. What I'm going to do is, when I do a little bit more research, a little bit more like with my magnifying glass in the contract, just take my time with the contract. That's what these retrogrades are all about. Just taking your time, slowing down, reevaluating, reassessing, figuring out if it really is in line with you. So that's a little bit about the Mercury retrograde. Let's see if I have my notes here. Let's see if there's anything else that I wanted to speak on it. So yeah, until June 3rd, and then goes directly to Taurus. Mercury is at home in Gemini, which I stated. And this happens 5 days leading to the eclipse. So this has something to tell us about the eclipse that's going on. And this is a lunar eclipse. Let me just make sure I have that right. Yes, a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and this is the South Node lunar eclipse. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, so again, Mercury retrograde, no need to be scared. Just take a little bit extra time, take it a little bit slower, and you'll be all right. One thing that you could do is, especially me during Mercury retrogrades, I kind of like to redevelop or send some extra love in my relationship with Mercury. I have created a relationship with Mercury, and you can do this with any planets, especially your ruling planet. I recommend, for example, if you're an Aries, you're ruled by Mars. If you're a Virgo, you're ruled by Mercury. If you're a Taurus, you're ruled by Venus. So it'll be helpful to me, I think, if you cultivate a relationship with those planets. So I've cultivated a relationship with Mercury, and I will be doing that last Mercury retrograde. And the Mercury retrograde season was beautiful for me. Of course, there were some hiccups and things, but I believe since I set that intention with Mercury, he did a little less pranking on me. Mercury is the cosmic prankster, loves to play jokes, and that Mercury does for me. Again, I was born during Mercury retrograde. Some of the funniest and beneficial things have happened during Mercury retrogrades, and it's like Mercury, for example, my car, it's like Mercury is like, oh yeah, you're gonna buy a car on Mercury retrograde, so I can show you the power that you have within yourself, right? It may seem like a bad time, it may seem scary, but let me show you that the power you have. So take that agency back, take your power back, and don't let Mercury retrograde you. You work with Mercury so that you all can work together. Okay. So next, also today, on May 10th, 2022, we have Jupiter entering into Aries. So this is a big deal. I've heard Jupiter into Aries, and I think this is the perfect description of Jupiter going into Aries is just do it, right? The Nike symbol, just do it. And why not me? Because Aries is the I am, right? So Jupiter, again, is all about soul growth, expansion. It's a very, Jupiter, I think it's a very spiritual sign. And Aries has courage and the warrior. So again, just breaking down each of these planets and figuring out and kind of putting the puzzle pieces together to figure out the language that this guy is speaking to you. And also in Aries right now is Chiron. So there could be some things being brought up that needs attention with healing. And also the fixed star Algol is associated with Jupiter in Aries as well as this lunar eclipse coming up. So if you want to do a little bit more research in digging into the fixed star Algol, which is called the demon star, has a lot to do with like healing, of course, but betrayal, and as it has to do with the story of Medusa. So really do your research. Such an interesting story about Medusa and her association with the fixed star Algol. So highly suggest that you check that out if that's something that interests you. Mythology definitely interests me, so that's something that I've done a little bit of research in. And while we're on that topic, I do have my Abiola African Goddess Rising Oracle deck. And in that deck, Medusa is in that deck. And if you know the story of Medusa, it has a lot to do with rape culture and rage that comes out of what Medusa experienced. And so I think Abiola in the artist just beautifully showed the rage card, or represented Medusa with rage here. And as you can see, the number 23, and I was born on May 23rd. And so that's just really resonant for me. And it's so funny, my husband actually called me Medusa yesterday because he's like, every time I get next to you, you put me to sleep, or you fall, I fall asleep. You just seduce me and then I fall asleep. And so I think that's just so funny. But just looking at this card again and knowing Medusa's story, it's all about rage. So I just want to read this because there is that vibe as we enter into this full moon in Scorpio, releasing and purging, dealing with Algol and Medusa, as well as Jupiter and Aries with Chiron there. So I just want to read a little bit of this. And so Medusa, she's in the Temple of Shadows. The element is fire. Medusa is feared as an ugly, vicious monster bitch. Is that the truth? She is the dark goddess of rage, and rage that is sacred, epic, and fully justified. Fully justified. And if you want to hear a little bit more about rage and justified rage, I have another YouTube video on like hot topics with a big slap and what was brought up for me in regards to rage. So if you want to check that out, feel free to check out my YouTube video on that. Are you pissed off and purified, anger and shaking, or petrified, angry and shaking? Underneath that, you are hurt and heartbroken. Again, Mercury retrograde, please pardon my speech, okay? You can stay silent anymore. Let your joys, hopes, and beauty rage on. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Put your hands on your lower abdomen. Tune into that part of you that feels out of control. Flood it with loving, healing, golden light. Now put both hands over your heart and do the same. You have the right to your full rage of emotions, including anger. Sacred rage inspire us to run for office, to lead protests, to shift policies, but unhealthy rage can devour our very soul. Get clear on what's really happening. Allow yourself to feel and to see the truth. Just because you feel threatened doesn't mean that you are being threatened. You have a right to feel your feelings. So is this not the perfect card for the times that we are in with the government trying to police our bodies and trying to tell us what we need to do with our bodies? We have a right to rage. What does rage lead to? Protest, change, policy reform. Let that Medusa out. It's justified. She had a justification for the reason that she is the way. She was raped. Okay? So be justified. Let that rage that's inside you come out. Don't let it destroy you. Let it come out. So as Jupiter is entering into Aries and we're going through this eclipse season, things are being brought up. And I did see in the Sabian symbol with this Mercury retrograde, it has a lot to do, again, in the sign of Gemini, with communication, with leaks, with publications and things. So as you go a little bit deeper into the astrology, you can see it all unfolding in front of us. So just a reminder, as Jupiter is in the Aries and we want to create the expansion and the healing of what we want and what we want to go after, tap into some of that rage. What can you bring out of you in a healthy way to go forward and to move into the expansion that you want in your life? Because this is a new initiation for us. Jupiter changes signs every 12 years. And the last time it was in air, or it doesn't change signs every 12 years, but I know it goes back into the sign, I believe, every 12 years. Again, I am a student of astrology. Speak and look at your local or your favorite web astrologers because, you know, just don't take my word for it. I'm a student of astrology, sharing my experience with you so that it can help spark some inspiration. But the last time Jupiter was in Aries was 12 years ago. So that's 2010 to 2011. And for me, Jupiter enters into Aries is in my 7th and 8th house. So 7th house of committed partnerships, in the 8th house of death and rebirth and other outside resources. So again, breaking this down, I did my research and I looked back at 2010, 2011. And do y'all know what happened around this time in my 7th house of partnership? That is when I was hired into my job where I met my husband. My husband was a chef at the big convention center hotel in Washington, D.C., and I was hired on as the food and beverage coordinator. So there was a food and director, and I was the food and beverage coordinator. So that director's coordinator, right-hand woman. I had a lot to do with F&B, obviously, with the food and the chefs. And so I would go do my little things down there. And I just thought he was fine. Lots of tattoos, 6'7", skinny ball player. Long story short, he put a ring on it. We're married. The rest is history. But when we met, things happened very, 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 very quickly. Like, we saw each other, we exchanged numbers, went on a first date, been inseparable ever since. So that is one way Jupiter and Aries like came in hot and expansive in the biggest way. I've never had a boyfriend until I met my husband, Jeremiah. I was all about me, right? All about, not, I wouldn't say that all about me, but I'm a Gemini, I'm mutual. I like to mix and mingle and dabble a little here, dabble a little there. But my husband knocked me down, and it happened in a big, expansive way. Our love was so big and so strong that he was able to lock this Gemini down. And so that's the 7th house, right? That committed partnership. I made a commitment, and the biggest commitment, the most expansive commitment to Jeremiah, my one and only partner, my one and only partner, and Jupiter and Aries. And that's when we met. That's when we solidified our relationship. And that's when we made a commitment to each other. 7th house theme. And also Aries is also in my chart. Aries is also associated with the 8th house. And if I think about that now in my life, how might that show up? I just finished the most amazing conference called Quantum Con, hosted by Holisticism, where I met some of the most magical people. Hey, baby. See y'all. Where I met some of the most magical and beautiful human beings on this planet, and I was able to connect and collaborate with them. And I have a feeling from this conference, there's going to be some commitments made. And 7th part of committed partnerships doesn't necessarily mean, like marriage. It could mean your coworker, not your coworkers, but your job, because you're in a contractual agreement with your job. So where you kind of have contractor agreements, it could mean your clients. It could mean, somebody that you have a business adventure with, you would do a podcast with, any type of those. So when I think about what that means for me now, is that I might come into a partnership or a new expansive relationship or work partnership. And with the Mercury that's going in retrograde, it's happening in my 10th house of career. So that kind of links, right? And this Mercury retrograde is linked to where it's happening while Jupiter is in Aries. So that tells me that I might come across some type of partnership that has to do with my career or my public roles. And in the 8th house, this has to do with all of that as well, because I've received so many scholarships in the past month. again, outside resources, outside money, outside grants, outside things. I will be applying for a lot of grants, you best believe, during this Jupiter in Aries season, as it's also in my 8th house, because that means Jupiter, I have some expansion, I have some, you know, maybe luck with committed partnerships with things that I want Aries, right? So again, just different ways to look and to see how you can use the astrology above to help expand and benefit you below. And so that's some of the ways that I will be doing is applying for grants, outside resources, 8th house, making partnerships and commitments that feel aligned with me and my goals and my inspirations. I posted something recently in my stories, and I thought that this was so beautiful. If you don't follow me on IG, definitely follow me there, because every morning I give an aspirational quote, as well as some other things that could, you know, be an inspiration or can help you along your intuitive journey throughout the day. And one of the things that I posted in my stories, I don't match energy. I maintain mine so that I can attract what aligns. And this is beautiful, right? Because I maintain my own boundaries, my own, like, what do I want? What do I receive? And other people match that, right? When I stand in my own agency, those that are aligned with me I will automatically attract. So just keeping that in mind, and I'll keep it there for now. I'll keep it there for now, and then maybe I'll do another video leading up into the lunar eclipse. But I did pull some cards, and I definitely wanted to share that with you. So the center of this card, and it's so funny that we're talking about Aries and you know, the full moon that's coming up during this lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Again, full moons are all about releasing and purging what no longer is serving us, so that we don't carry it along with us into this new cycle, right? And the center of the spread that I pulled was the full moon in Aries. Cool your emotions. Cool your emotions. So I feel called to read this. So let's see what it says in the book. And I don't usually read from this, but this time I felt like I really there's a message in here that for us. Okay. Cool your emotions. Are you in the middle of an argument, or perhaps in the mood to pick an argument? Surely not. Are you being overly forward? This is time of heated emotion, frayed tempers. Anger is better than despair. Abraham Hicks taught us, because anger spurs on us, do something, but you may get a better result if you master your emotions. So much rage, so much in the theme of rage. And of course, y'all, I wish y'all could see it. Y'all, whenever I do readings, the cats know, and they come and sit directly on my cards. So much rage. So Spirit's really telling us in this time to let the rage bubble up and to deal with it. Let me read that again. Anger is better than despair. Abraham Hicks taught us, because anger spurs on us, do something, but you may get better results if you master your emotions. Certainly avoid stirring the pot, or it can boil over. Cooling your emotions and being the peacemaker means you'll attract more peaceful outcomes. So there's a place for peace, there's a place for anger, but master your emotions, right? Before you do anything. I don't know if we're all so angry, but all those that I'm aligned with are pissed off about what's going on with our governments trying to control our bodies. So control your emotions, right? Take a step back, Mercury retrograde, before you communicate your anger and how you're feeling. Take a step back, reassess, control your emotions, and then from there, you're able to make a powerful statement. Seek balance between you, and me, okay? Any affirmation? Okay, so out of this only good will come. Out of this only good will come. So I think Spirit's really telling us at this time is to connect with our rage, connect with our inner Medusa. I know, baby. I know. He loves it when I pull cards. Connect with your inner Medusa, because this is the time. This is the time. But again, don't do it right away. You know, that Aries wants to do it right away. Go for it. Blah, 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 blah. But this is happening during Mercury retrograde, where it's asking in Gemini, which is asking us to take a step back, reevaluate our communication and how we communicate with others. Okay? So Spirit is also telling us to shine, to shine. So this is the inner ward, all feminine energy. So no, this is the new moon in Leo. We just left a moon in Leo, and now the moon is in Virgo, really helping us prepare and declutter and get rid of things that we don't want to take with us as we are continuing to release with this full moon in Scorpio. Okay, so make sure you shine. Make sure that you are showing up, and before this new cycle, really shine. Like really get and feel what is inside you, what needs to be shined, what needs to be shown, what needs to be expressed, what needs to be expanded during this Jupiter and Aries time. Shine a light on that. Shine a light on that. And an action to take. Perfect. New moon in Gemini. New moon in Gemini is the action to take. We need to be thinking it through again, right? Before we express our rage. I can't put that card. Before we express our rage and go forth for battle, you know, ready to set all of those motherfuckers, you know, in stone. We need to be thinking it through, taking a step back, reassessing before we communicate, connect, and tap in with our emotions first. And then what's at the bottom of the deck? Go wild, baby. Go wild. Full moon in Leo. We got the new moon in Leo with shine, and full moon in Leo with go wild. So Spirit is really telling us to go wild. They want our voices to be heard. They want us to fight back. They want us to do all of these things. But through taking a step back and connecting with that rage, right? Before, you know, going through or communicating that to those that need to be communicated with, because we're not going to be silent. Okay, we're not going to be silent. We're not going to be silent. We're going to go for it. And just a few affirmations. Ooh, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Right on point. Your words have power. Your words have power. Be intentional with everything you say. Is this not the most perfect card for Mercury retrograde? Yeah. Yes, yeah. Do you see the card? Yeah. Be intentional with everything you say. Use your word consciously and purposely to evaluate, encourage, and inspire yourself and others. Honor the power of your words and the actions that manifest as they become. Honor the power of words and the actions and manifestations they become. So be intentional. We need to be very, 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 very careful with our words during this season, during this time. Be very careful with our words because they have power. Words are spells. Words are spells. They have power. So at this time, Spirit is really telling us to express it, but be very careful in it, knowing that your words have power. The second part that popped up is I am focused on key tasks, getting it done. So again, this is just reaffirming from Spirit. We're not stopping. We're still going wild. We're still pushing through. We're still shining, but we're being focused, right? We're a little bit more focused than we normally would be. Okay, yeah. we're a little bit more focused than we normally would be. We're taking a step back, we're assessing, we're evaluating, right? You are a master of time management. By remaining focused on key tasks, you are able to accomplish your goals and reach a peak productivity. Work through your day with intention and be productive and efficient. So this is perfect because especially now that the moon is in Virgo, be work through it with intention and be productive and efficient. So Spirit is really telling us at this time to be efficient, to get it done. Just do it, right? Again, Jupiter in Aries, just do it. Because why not me? But in order to get it done, again, taking a step back, thinking it through, you know, connecting with that rage and what these things are building up and filling up for me. Knowing my words have power, then I can shine. Then I can go wild and express what I need to feel needs to be expressed at this time. So that is what I have for you. I hope that it was helpful, beneficial. Please let me know. Sorry, these cats. Gotta get my daughter ready, take care of these cats. Please let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Where you can find me will be below in the comments as well. I'm on IG. I have some new soul love offerings coming up, so stay tuned. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter to stay tuned and updated with all that I have going on. And I'm sending you so much love. Have a beautiful Jupiter and Aries season, as well as a Mercury retrograde season in both Gemini and Taurus. And as we're prepping for this lunar eclipse in Scorpio, should be interesting. Sending many, many blessings your way.